All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the work session of Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. I'm sorry we are a little late. We're going to try to get better on time. So I'd like a resolution, please, to open a motion to open up the work session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Jill, do you want to take it away?
Sure. The first thing on our work session this evening is the resolution appointing new members to the Millwood West End Advisory Board and augmenting the mission statement. So if the board recalls, last week we did some interviews for the Millwood West End Advisory Board, actually 2 weeks ago. Last week we took and we revised the mission statement for the board. Following the board's requests and directions, we have before you this evening a revised resolution. It accomplishes a number of things. It sort of clarifies the mission statement of the board and also charges the new board with tailoring the mission statement to what they think it best be, and bringing us back those suggestions. It also takes and appoints the four members that were appointed back in April to one-year terms that are effective January 1st, 2022, and then establishes a staggered terms for the three new members that we plan on appointing this evening that will be 2-year terms effective January 1st, 2022. And so then we've got a split board, and at any point in time, no more than 4 members will be up. It also establishes a chair, and that's the long and the short of things. Again, leaves it open-ended so that the board actually has input to the mission statement, which we thought was just so important. Good. Are there any comments or questions, issues about that?
And I know Nicole and they've looked at this and they're comfortable with it.
These are the directions that they gave us.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. No, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. We're going to actually just hold the town board liaison appointments till next week when we have a little bit more time. And next move on to the authorization to enter into an IMA with Westchester County regarding the Minkel Dam. If the board recalls, there were a series of grant opportunities that we applied for in connection with the decommissioning and of the Minkel Dam and then the replanting of the area that would be left bare once the dam was actually drained. The first one was to FEMA, and we received a $1 million plus grant from that for actually just decommissioning the dam. The second grant that we applied for was basically a planning grant with Westchester County. It's $250,000 that we've been awarded to help with the replanting, and actually Westchester County is going to help us with the design, which is really fabulous. And so with the board's permission, we will put the IMA on for the town board meeting that will immediately follow this meeting for approval, and we'll be on our way. We're very excited to get this project started, and we're really appreciative to our staff, specifically the planning department, Sabrina, Bob Cioli, and Kellen Cantrell for their, and of course, Rob Deary and Bart Carey for their tremendous efforts in this. And it's so great that we were able to secure these critical funds for this important project. So thanks all. The next is just some administrative items. It's payment of claims, adoption of monthly reports, authorization to purchase 2 marked police car vehicles. This is something that is been approved in our 2022 budget, part of our operating expenses. There's an authorization to attend training seminars for our parks guys. Over the past 8 years, we are really proud of the training initiatives that we have been so aggressive in encouraging our staff to attend. We just had a safety meeting with our workers' comp carrier today, and the fruits of our efforts really show. We are a far safer workplace than we've ever been before. And we're really proud of our efforts. And last but not least, there's an authorization to purchase water meters for DPW. And that's the extent of the work session for this evening. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I was just curious, how do you prioritize training sessions, like where they're offered? I would imagine there's sort of a broad universe of opportunities for people to do that.
Yeah, so
in other walks of life, it can be almost overwhelming.
Yeah, so there actually are some very well-known programs. There's a Cornell Roads program, which is the gold standard, platinum standard, whatever the highest standard is at this point of training for our road crews. That talks about paving, you know, all of the most current practices and safety procedures that our DPW routinely goes to. And Rutgers has a very robust training for our parks guys, parks crews. And again, whenever we see a training seminar, they usually occur in the off season for parks, which is now, unfortunately for DPW, it's sort of in the spring because we have to catch them in between, you know, snow removal and, you know, and the paving season. So it's like, you know, right in between there that we send them to. But there are a couple of very well respected training programs that we really try to encourage our staff to go to whenever they find them available. So it was a little on the short notice side for this, but we're very excited that they're going. It's really important, and it shows.
Jill, I have a question about training available for other departments. What's generally done? For instance, the business office, is there fiscal training, you know, updates and best practices? What?
Sure. So there are trainings that our staff goes through, and actually I'm just waiting to hear back from Labor Council that we do annually. So we've got our annual training, which is workplace prevention training and also sexual harassment prevention training that is done annually in the spring. That's for all staff and also all boards and commission members. In addition to that, we have monthly training sessions, monthly safety trainings throughout town hall for our staff. Rob, do you want to speak about the GOA? Joe, I never get the initials right.
Which one?
The annual fiscal financial training that you go to.
Oh, the GFOA.
That's the one. Yeah.
The Government Finance Officers Association.
Thank you.
Association. Yeah, so I'm a part of both the at the state level and the federal level, and they provide financial updates on a weekly, usually multiple times a week. More recently, they've been talking about the CARES Act and the ARPA funding and the uses for that. But they provide ongoing training. I also have the opportunity to attend. Haven't the last 2 years been able to attend in person, but there is a 3-day conference up in Albany where the state GFOA puts on their continuing education type conference. So we have those financial opportunities as well.
Yeah, and Rob's in the middle of his audit. If he seems a little like, what initials? That's why. So we're also annually audited. I don't know how it was with the school district, but we've got our auditors who come on site. He just finished up his preliminary audit. The full audit will be in a couple of months.
So
yeah, I noticed it's an external audit. Do you have internal? I know you have a controller's office, but do you have an independent internal audit?
We don't, no, just the independent auditors, and they're on site. They do, so they're currently on site doing the preliminary audit, which is 2 days, typically on site. Most of this was conducted, I was out last week, most of this was conducted remotely. They'll then come on site for 5 days in March, and they'll spend another day separately auditing the Justice Court. And then the town board, usually in May, gets the results of the audit as well as the financial statements.
So is it unusual for towns or not normal practice for municipalities to have independent internal audits?
Ed, you can maybe help me here from your experience. I don't know of that to be the case, especially in a municipality of our size. So I don't know what your experience is with any of maybe some of your other clients, but as far as I know, municipalities of our size typically wouldn't have that.
That's consistent with my experience, Rob. I can ask and see if some of the larger municipalities do that, but what you described is consistent with my understanding.
Okay, thank you. I mean, we could discuss that offline as well, but thank you for that preliminary understanding.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then that concludes our work session and we can go right into the town board meeting. Lisa?
Perfect. So can I get a motion to adjourn our work session and open the town board meeting?
So
So
moved.
moved.
So eager. Second.
Can I get a second?
Wow,
Getting late.
second.
It's getting late.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
You gotta
right.
talk faster next time.
So- Okay, so welcome to the town board meeting now of January 18th on this lovely cold day. I would like to start. Do we have any, Jill, do you have any announcements before I go ahead?
I've got my administrator's report, so
Okay.
no, go ahead.
Perfect. So I just have a couple quick things I wanted to say. First, Governor Hochul today said that in the past 7 days, newly reported cases of COVID, specifically from the Omicron, have dropped 34% in New York. So that is very good. That being said, New York households starting tomorrow can order up to 4 rapid antigen coronavirus at-home test kits at no charge. And I will have this in our report, but you go to covidtests.gov. If you do that, it's actually going to redirect you to the post office site, and you can put in your name and address, and they will send you 4 kits per household, not per person, free of charge. So I would urge everyone to take advantage of that just in case we need them for any reason. And also Governor Hochul also extended her previously announced New York mask mandate. All terms of that remain the same as before, but that is now extended until February 1st, which I think is a good idea as we hopefully the cases continue to go down. All right, that's really all I had for my supervisor's report. Today is now the inaugural segment in our agenda of Community Corner. And what that is supposed to be, we are a community. We want to be one. We all love each other most of the time. And it's really a time when you are supposed to let us know, and we can announce birthdays, promotions, just good things that keep us all in the know about our neighbors and our friends. Again, you can email communitycorner@mynewcastle.org if you have anything you'd like to add to future Community Corners. Tonight, I have one sad thing and one happy thing I wanted to announce. First, I wanted to give condolences. It's not in our community, but it affects many people in our community, to friends and families of Reginald Lafayette, who's a wonderful man. He was most recently the Democratic Commissioner of the Westchester County Board of Elections, but he led an illustrious political career. He was a wonderful man, and unfortunately, he recently passed away. So I wanted to express our condolences to all who knew him. On a lighter note, we also in the Community Corner wanted to congratulate our Horace Greeley High School senior Annika Puri for being selected as a Regeneron Science Talent Search Scholar. She is looking at real-time wildlife poacher detection solution, leveraging machine learning driven spatiotemporal analysis of nighttime UAV thermal infrared videos, which sounds really cool. She is way smarter than I am. So congratulations to her. She is one of among 300 scholars out of over 1,800 who were selected across 9 countries. and 40 of those 300 scholars will be named Regeneron Science Talent Search finalists who will then compete for cash awards. And we wish her the very, very best in the next round. So congratulations. Again, we would love to announce birthdays, anything else that comes up. So feel free to email us. And that's all I really have for the supervisor's report and the community corner tonight. So Jill, you want to have anything for your administrator's report?
Sure. Thank you, Supervisor Katz. So just a shout out to our DPW. Thanks to our crews who did such an amazing job keeping our streets clear during the holiday weekend storms. The weekend storms left some of our residents, just under 150 residents, without power due to the storm's heavy winds. Thank you to Bart Carey and Chief Carroll, who together with Supervisor Katz and I were on calls with Con Ed during the course of the day to ensure that power was restored to our Newcastle residents. So that was a happy ending to a not such a great day. So regarding boards and commissions, the town board has been actively interviewing residents to fill vacancies on our boards and commissions. And we're actively seeking members for our Committee on Race and Equity, Arts and Culture Committee, and Conservation Board, to name just 3. For a complete listing of boards looking for members, please see the e-newsletter. In addition to the Newcastle boards and commissions, the Chappaqua Farmers Market's also looking for board members, and full information on that will be in the e-newsletter as well. Last but not least, everybody's favorite topic, school taxes are due without penalty by Monday, January 31st. So Monday the 31st is the last day to pay the second half of the 2021-2022 school tax bill without penalty. With inclement weather and COVID concerns, we can't impress upon our residents how important it is to submit your payment on time. If you, as opposed to your bank, are responsible for school taxes, please mail or drop off your check early. The tax office holds post-dated checks, so there's no reason to wait for the last minute to submit your payment. Please note that a February 1st payment is not a one-day late payment. It is a 4-month late payment, and it is subject to a 10% penalty. So please, the town has no authority to waive that penalty. So please get the checks in early. If you have any questions about your bill or payment, please call the tax office 238-4773 or email taxes@mynewcastle.org. And Christina, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a code red that's going to be going townwide by the end of the week, just reminding people. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for the reminder.
Thank
February
you,
1st
Jill.
is always the worst day in the tax office. Everybody walks in saying, oh no. Yeah.
Right, and remember, the town board has very limited leeway to grant any amnesty here. So please make sure you get them in on time. All right, so now we will open this up to public comments and new business. Carrie, is there anyone online?
If anyone's interested, just raise your digital hand and we'll open your phone line. Sure, hold on one moment.
I see
Cynthia Shames. Just unmute yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hi, Cynthia. We can hear you.
Great. Hi, good evening. So I have 2 separate questions. The first is, Jill, thank you so much for bringing up these CRE applications. Can you give us an update as to what community response has been so far? How many applications you guys have received and what the timeline looks like for interviews on
For the
CRE?
CRE specifically, Tiffany, my trusty assistant.
We don't have many applications.
We do not have many. 3?
2.
2?
I think it's 2.
2 applications so far.
Well, mine is 1, so that's good.
Oh, thank you.
I'm assuming that it went through.
We have it, Cynthia.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure because, sometimes tech is tough. Okay. The second question that I have is probably a little bit, well, I'm just going to ask. So some months ago, since a few months ago, there has been some discussion around campaign finance for Unite Newcastle. And I've asked privately and publicly multiple times for some clarity around donations that were made to the Unite Newcastle campaign by two separate sets of parties, both of whom are engaged in billion-dollar apartment construction. And I've gotten zero response, no transparency whatsoever from private inquiries, from public inquiries, from an article in the paper. And, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of not just myself, and this is not a personal vendetta. This is questions about what is happening with the future of our town and how that's going to affect zoning. And so I am using this moment here to just ask for, it doesn't have to be tonight, but I am asking the town board for an actual statement about what we can expect going forward in light of the fact that nearly 40% of your campaign finance was given by people with interests in huge apartment complex development.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. First, I need you to get your facts straight, because many people who donate to the campaign have nothing to do with any investments in our town. But that being said, this is not the place for this discussion. What I will tell you is that this town board intends to be fully transparent with any zoning changes that will occur downtown. And if anything is proposed, there will be open discussion with the public on any issues.
So am I to understand then that this $20,000 or $24,000, actually it's a little bit more than that, but so I'm to understand that there's no discussion forthcoming about why somebody, like for instance in Colorado, would have donated the maximum to the campaign?
What I said was I'm not discussing it in the middle of a town board meeting. This is not an appropriate place to discuss this.
Okay.
However, if you'd like to discuss zoning, what I did say there is that this town board will be fully transparent with regard to any zoning changes that may occur.
Understood, understood. I don't want to take any more time from the meeting. I would just like to know when would be an appropriate time to address the campaign finance questions.
Not here. So we will see. We will let you know. I see you have the entire Newcastle Democratic Committee here as attendees. I'm
Lisa,
sure.
I'm not part of the
discussion.
Democratic Committee.
But I didn't say you were. I said the entire committee is a participant in this meeting right now. But this is not the place for this discussion. If we choose to answer you at all, it will not be as part of a town board meeting. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the transparency. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I don't see any other hands raised.
I'm not going to wait. I'm not
going
going to wade into that. I don't want to wade into it, but it's not the entire Democratic Committee. I see a few people and people on all different parties and involvement. So not to wade into the conversation, but make sure that's an accurate reflection.
Okay, thank you. Do you see? I don't see any other hands raised. Going once?
No, that looks like it.
Okay. All right. So let's move now to our consent agenda items. So generally what these consent agenda items are, just for the new town board members, these are items that are relatively ministerial that we adopted, I believe last year, a resolution that allowed us to, instead of reading individual resolutions for each of these things, like the adoption of monthly reports, things like that, we can do it all together in one consent agenda item. What I generally do is ask if anything should be pulled off of that and spoken about separately, resolved separately. So I
Lisa?
actually, yes?
I see one hand up.
Okay. All right, Cynthia, we'll get to you in a second. Thank you. I would like to say, though, I actually do believe we should pull out the authorization to appoint to the Recreation Committee out of the consent agenda, just because I believe appointments to all our committees are really a way where we should honor the commitment that these people for any committees are going to put forth for our town. So I would like to pull that out separately so we can acknowledge and appoint that person separately.
You want to do Millwood West End Advisory as well then, Lisa?
Hmm?
Do you want to pull out Millwood West End Advisory Board as well?
From the consent agenda items, I think we should.
Okay,
Mhm.
great.
And the Holocaust and Human Rights Committee.
Yeah, all those committees.
All committees.
I feel like we should just
Okay.
do those separately if that's
All
all
right.
right.
Great.
Does anyone else have anything that feels like they should come out of this? Okay, so before we move to the consent agenda items, Cynthia, why don't we just open up the floor to Cynthia?
Sure. Cynthia Moses, just unmute yourself, please.
Hi, not to be confused with the last Cynthia on the line. Hi.
Hi.
So I just sat in on the planning board meeting, which was wonderful. And they had a discussion on, I guess, the review of draft rules of procedure, which they're redrafting for a planning board process with Jennifer Gray. And all of it sounded great, and they were very attentive to detail. And I would like to propose from the town board level that every sub-board of the town board have in their agenda, like you do, some opportunity for public comment. And I'm hoping they are still in the draft process, but I'd like the town board to consider for transparency that the zoning board, the planning board, and other boards have, you know, it might not be at every single meeting, but the first meeting of every month, if they have more than one meeting, some opportunity for comments that don't pertain specifically to agenda items that they're addressing, because they do have public comment for each agenda item that they are addressing, but they don't leave room for other things that might be going on in the town having to do with the planning board approvals, you know, moving in the future or in the past. So I wanted to bring that to your attention in January of your new board.
Okay, thanks, Cynthia. I actually think that is a good idea.
Thank you.
And we are going to be having, just because you may be interested, a joint meeting with the planning board. I think it's important for the town board to have joint meetings with many of the boards, just to kind of touch base and keep a feel for what's going on.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we do have another hand up.
Okay,
Margaret Ferguson, please unmute yourself.
Hello. I'm just wondering, in terms of consent agendas, that there's a public hearing on the proposed amendments to the town code, including about lot line amendments. The public hearing is, the consent agenda includes setting that public hearing for February 8th. This seems very quick. I also just, with Cynthia Moses, was listening to the planning board meeting. They're still working on a memo. They're still discussing it. The town needs to understand these things. She raised some excellent points in the planning board meeting about unintended consequences from that lot line adjustment, really excellent points. So can the setting of the public meeting be removed from the consent agenda as well? I'm sorry, the public hearing be removed from the consent agenda as well?
so I think, Maggie, I think we're gonna keep it as a public hearing. Now, what that does not mean we are going to close the public hearing, and I can tell you with no uncertainty that we will not be voting upon any local law to amend regarding lot line adjustments until we hear from the planning board at a minimum. And if we want to have discussions with the planning board, committee to committee, we may do that as well. But we certainly are not going to vote on anything until we hear from that planning board. And I also want to make sure we understand all the implications of any law change that we're going to make. So I do want to make sure that residents have as much opportunity as possible to comment on any of these proposed laws through a public hearing. So I don't mind having it open on the 8th, but it doesn't mean we're going to close it on the 8th.
But I
So
guess
it would just give you, it would then be extended to the next meeting, which would then give residents even more of an opportunity to speak publicly on this.
But I guess what I'm getting at is just, it seems a little bit of premature. I mean, if they're, again, Cynthia Moses raised some very good questions. I think they should be discussed. I mean, I think the process, I think it needs more thought before even the public hearings open. That's, just, I don't understand why there's a time pressure to do this now. I appreciate that you're not going to vote on it. I do know that a public hearing can be extended and extended, but I just ask, why does the public hearing even have to be opened on February 8th? Why? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I mean, there is no rush to why this needs to be done. There's no impending deadline. And in fact, this wasn't really on our radar. It was brought to us as something to consider. So it certainly isn't we're not trying to push anything through. I, for one, need to know a lot more information on this, as I think many of my fellow board members do as well. I think certainly if we don't have the memo from the planning board and haven't had the opportunity to review that, we will probably just instantly adjourn that meeting and push it off.
Well, Lisa, would there be any reason that you can't talk to the planning board chair to see if it makes sense to them to have the February 8th initial date?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly talk to them. It's still, three-ish weeks away, I think. So I thought it was going to be ample time, which is why we set it, not for next week. We set it for 3 weeks from now. So I thought it would be ample time. I don't mind leaving it on there for right now. If they say that, if I talk to one, I will call Bob after this meeting. And if he thinks that there's no way they're going to be ready with any kind of substantial analysis on this, then we will absolutely push this off.
Right. I mean, I haven't seen a reason to rush through it. I'm not sure if we're rushing, but
Not rushing.
I mean, certainly the initial public hearing would be an opportunity for
discussion
issue at the very least, because when would we have another opportunity to present all of the possible issues?
Right, and that
Vicky,
you literally hit the nail on the head.
I'm not saying
no. That you're exactly right. That is the purpose of the public hearing is to take and invite public discourse, to take and fully explain it. Council will be there. It will give us an overview. Perhaps Sabrina or someone from the planning department will be there as well to explain the reason why they think it's a good idea to step forward. And we invite public comment. The law requires us to get comments from the planning board, our Newcastle planning board, as well as the county planning board before we go forward. And we would never take official action until we received those comments. But this is an invitation to the public to come forward. This is the way that, we basically float the balloon and invite comment and criticisms, suggestions, recommendations, and how we start the public discourse.
But if I may, there is another point to opening a public hearing. It's part of the legal process moving towards enactment. And I understand, Lisa, you made very clear you're not voting on a law until you understand more about it. But it's not just to encourage public comment. That's part of it. You have to have public comment before laws. Well, you have to have a referral to the planning board and the county and local level before it's enacted. But it is part of the legal process, and I just don't understand why it has to open at this. What I understand is 3 weeks off, and you can change your mind. But I would ask you to seriously consider not opening it on February 8th. I just don't see the point of starting that next step in legal process. Can't there be a discussion at a work session about this, and people can call in and hear what you board members say at a work session and make their own comments? Can't that happen? I mean,
that did happen.
Yeah, that happened at our last meeting.
Well, no, I watched the last meeting and I thought my takeaway was that even the board members had questions about it that weren't answered.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. And
Understandable.
that's why we said we were 100% referring it to the planning board and the Westchester County Planning Board to see it, although I don't know that they'll have any comments really, but
Well,
our planning board certainly will. And we need to understand it might, generally during work sessions, we don't have such a formal kind of back and forth with the public. So I wanted to make sure we start that dialogue. I guarantee you right now, we are not ending that dialogue on February 8th.
Well, I did
that right now.
I did appreciate the discussion at the work session. I appreciated the discussion at the work session on the lot line amendment. And I also appreciated the discussion on the social media policy. I thought it was a really wonderful discussion, especially on the social media policy. And I got a chance to really hear, independent, each of you making your independent comments about various things. My point was at that point, there was a lot of clarity about the lot line amendment. And, I think based on the unintended consequences that Cynthia Moses raised at the planning board level tonight about what can happen with these lot line amendments, there really were some interesting points. I guess she's in the development field. I do not know her, but I guess she's in the development field, and she made some interesting points that maybe should be the subject of another work session discussion. And then people can hear what the 5 board members think about it. I really like I think the discussions at the work session level are very helpful to listen to and to clarify things.
Okay, so Maggie, I think let's take it off the consent agenda for tonight. Let me talk to Bob Kirkwood, see when they think they're going to have comments on it. If it's something that, we want to discuss at a work session potentially with the planning board, or we want to understand from Sabrina at a planning board at another work session, we can do that. And what's Jill, I don't remember, how long public notice do we have to give publication before we can have a public hearing?
10 days here because it's a zoning amendment.
10 days. So then let me talk to him and let's put it off and we can look at it next week and see where
I
we
appreciate that. I appreciate you hearing me. And I really did enjoy the discussions last week at the work session. I hope you keep it up. And that's how you work things out. That's really those discussions, and I enjoyed it. I did have one procedural question for Ed. If you open a public hearing, can you indefinitely table something? I mean, can you can you close it and then reopen? How does it work?
You just adjourn it.
Yeah, I don't know that you can't just not return to something.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm not aware of any rule that says there has to be, some that you have to follow through with some particular action.
All right. Okay, so, but I thank you, Lisa, for listening. I do appreciate it. There is plenty of time to put this on at a later date, and, keep up the good discussions at the work session. The people who understand, there's a lot of big decisions going on, are listening. And I thank you very much for listening tonight.
All right, any other hands raised? Okay, seeing none, let's move to the consent agenda items, and we'll take out the the committees and this public hearing for now. Okay, does somebody have that open?
Sure.
I do. Go ahead,
Kara,
Chris.
Kara, you go ahead.
Okay. I move to adopt the consent agenda as submitted, consisting of the following: adoption of monthly reports for December, authorization to hire part-time senior driver for recreation, authorization to accept resignation for the Millwood West End Advisory Board, authorization to approve annual support agreement for Springwick Software, authorization to approve 2022 health insurance rates MVP, authorization to approve CSEA vision and dental rates, authorization to approve purchase NC UFY, Authorization to issue 5 NYC OGS vehicle mini bids. Authorization to issue bid for senior nutrition program recreation. Resolution extending tax exemptions for 2022 tax rolls. Resolution for extension of senior citizen partial exemption for garbage and refuse collection services. Authorization to set fee for electric chargers. Authorization to enter into IMA with Westchester County regarding Minkel Dam. Authorization to purchase 2 marked vehicles for police. Authorization to attend training seminar for parks. And authorization to purchase water meters for DPW.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well, that passes. Jill, can we pull out, we have some of the resolutions from the packets for the,
Right,
Is that
so
pain in
we've
the
got
neck?
we have the Millwood West End Advisory Board resolution that was just in our work session packet, so that can be pulled out.
Yep. Does anyone have that? I have it. It's right in the
Sure.
agenda packet.
I have it.
Thank you, Chris.
So I move to adopt the following resolution, whereas the Millwood West End Advisory Board, formerly known as the Millwood Task Force, was established on March 12, 1974. And whereas the town board wishes to appoint new members to the Millwood West End Advisory Board, increase its maximum membership, and make the other modifications described below. Now therefore be it resolved, the Millwood West End Advisory Board will be comprised of a minimum of a maximum of 10 members. And be it further resolved that a maximum of 2 members of the MWEAB may be Newcastle residents living outside of the Millwood or the West End area, but with a strong and demonstrable commitment to the goals and interests advanced by the MWEAB, provided that if vacancies occur on the MWEAB, they shall be filled with Millwood West End residents until at least 2/3 of the MWEAB is constituted with such residents. And be it further resolved that to create staggering of terms of the members of the MWEAB, the following individuals are hereby reappointed to the MWEAB for a term of 1 year, effective January 1, 2022. 1, Nicole Rich. 2, Stuart Faust. 3, Kalyani Narasimhan. 4, Michael Weinberg. Be it further resolved that the following individuals are hereby appointed to the MWEAB for a term of 2 years, effective January 1, 2022. 1, Ms. Jagruti Patel. 2, David Valdez. 3, Sydney Feinhirsch. Be it further resolved that Nicole Rich is appointed chairperson of the MWEAB for a term of 1 year, effective January 1, 2022. Be it further resolved that in addition to the priorities and goals of the MWEAB as previously established by the town board, the MWEAB shall endeavor to 1, explore initiatives to create stronger community connections between the Chappaqua and Millwood hamlets. 2, improve and develop avenues of communication for residents of the Millwood West End area on matters of local interest, information, and concern. And 3, bring forward to the town board any recommendations for expanding and or modifying the mission statement of the MWEAB to better serve the interests of Millwood and West End residents. And be it further resolved, the MWEAB shall not be construed as a, quote, special board, as that term is defined in section 272-A of New York Town Law, and nothing in this resolution shall be deemed to limit the town board from exercising its statutory authority as it sees fit.
Board, I'm sorry if I made, I did hear it in my bad, there was a typo at the outset. It's a maximum of 10 members.
Yeah, I was a little tripped up there, Ed, but thank
Sorry,
you.
Chris.
A minimum of a maximum, okay. Comprised of a maximum of 10 members.
All right, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
Lauren circulated the resolutions to the group, so we can do recognition and also Holocaust and human rights. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right,
guys
I'll
have
take it
one?
then.
Go ahead.
Anyone?
Yep.
I authorize to appoint appointment of Jennifer Bounds as a member of the Recreation Commission for a 7-year term effective January 19th, 2022 to December 31st, 2020.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
It's a lot of years.
I moved, it is a lot of years. I moved to authorize your appointment. Too late, Jen, you're in. I move to authorize your appointment of the following individuals to the Holocaust and Human Rights Committee for a term of 2 years effective January 19th, 2022 to December 31st, 2023. Alexander Rosenberg, co-chair. Stacy Science, co-chair. Rebecca Dolgen, Cheryl Dorfman, Rhonda Reagan, Solveig McShay, Pat Pollock, Ben Goldenberg, and Elliot Science, the last two of whom were students.
I
Second.
second. Oh, you can go ahead, Chris.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Okay, that carries. Is that it?
We have others. We have other resolutions. I think we just
No,
Payment
did
of
we pull
claims.
anything else out?
no,
Okay, that's good.
Did we do the payment of claims?
no, we have not.
Not yet.
Anyone? Bueller?
I'll do it. That's
Go ahead.
fine. I move to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $198,345.82, 2021 expenditures totaling $135,371.66, and 2022 expenditures totaling $62,974.16, listed on the summary pre-check writing report and detailed voucher detail reports, all dated January 14th, 2022. Checks will be issued and mailed to each claimant listed on Wednesday, January 19th, 2022.
Have a
Second.
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 We're gonna get it.
It's difficult. It's difficult when when we're on the screen. You don't know who's
I know,
next.
I know. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Right, motion carries. All right, anything else, Jill?
I don't think so. I just
Otherwise-
wanted to mention the seniors. They are collecting for Hearts and Homes. It's a refugee. They are collecting toiletries. We're going to set up a collection box in the downstairs lobby of Town Hall. So if anyone's got extra toiletries you'd like to donate or purchase at the store, the seniors would be most appreciative, as would the people who ultimately receive them. So thank you.
Yes, and we'll have that in the town newsletter as well, some information.
Right.
about that.
That's great.
All right, well, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second.
Second.
Thank you all.
All right, all in
Have a good
favor?
night.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Good night,
good night,
everyone.
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Have a
Good
good
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Night.